Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Jets Radio. This is one of your hosts, Tyson Roush, and usually every week I say, boy, do we have a jam-packed show for you, but this time I really mean it because the chaos is back in town. The just quarterback carousel is back in town. We got injuries. We have roster moves. We have a guaranteed argument between me and Primetime, a guaranteed argument between me and Long Beach Joe. You're going to hear plenty of arguing, just plenty of just nonsense. And we're even going to address our Twitter critics. So you got to stay tuned for that because, yes, we read your tweets, and we're going to react to them right here, live. And if you want to call back and call in and just respond to them, we're more than welcome to respond to you there, too, because, you know, we always get the last laugh. So without anything else, let me introduce a man that I know is encouraged by his favorite player, but then at today's practice maybe discouraged, Long Beach Joe.
What's going on, Ty, man? You know, look, I cannot wait to get into the show, man. So much to talk about. Like you said, it's going to be jam-packed.
We are arguing tonight.
Hey, it's going to be what it is then. But I tell you what, listen, I am the man of the people. I'm here for the people. Let me shamelessly promote our Facebook page. Everyone, go to Facebook, search Let's Talk Jets Radio. That's our new page, guys. Go over there, like that page. Our content's up there. Go ahead and give it a listen. Also, you know, leave us some feedback. We love hearing about what you guys think we do here on Let's Talk Jets. You can also message us. We'll message you right back. We love talking about this team with anyone that wants to talk to us about it. So without further ado, Ty, let's go ahead and get into the show, man. I am fired up.
Yeah, and like you said, our Facebook page is a new page. So if you're on our old one, join our new one, and we're on YouTube. Please, first of all, we appreciate all the listens on our YouTube because we kind of just launched that. So Primetime's doing a great job with that. We're on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud. Please subscribe. Leave us feedback. You know, leave us reviews, good or bad. Let's hear from you. And obviously, we're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. We're pretty much everywhere. We appreciate the support, the listens, and everything else. As you guys know, Primetime has been at every practice. So what we're going to do is we're going to quickly recap this disaster against the Detroit Lions, which was an absolute cluster disaster. And then we're going to go into today's practice where Todd Bowles is just – he threw a major curveball. He threw a curveball that no Mets pitcher can throw, that's for sure. It's one that's getting everybody off guard. So, Joe, let's start with the game against the Detroit Lions, which was a disaster. There's, you know, Todd Bowles starts out and he shocks the world by saying Josh McCown's not playing. I'm like, well, look at this. Todd Bowles has some courage. Here you go, Hackenberg. It is your time to shine. This is what we've been waiting for. Go for it, kid. Do your thing. And within 3 plays, my boy gets drilled, fumbles the ball, and it was all downhill after that, Joe. With a chance for him to succeed, I even got, you know, let me say one thing. People, we have one of our listeners doesn't like our sound bites for some reason. So here's Christian Hackenberg against the Lions. Here's Christian Hackenberg against the Lions. That's what happened. He had a chance to go at it, and Joe, you could not ask for a worse performance under the stage of having a huge opportunity to start.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen. This Christian Hackenberg that we saw against the Lions was the Christian Hackenberg that I thought we were drafting. This is the guy that I was afraid of. This is the reason why I didn't want us to touch him. I don't think that Christian Hackenberg yet has shown a fully capable knowledge of this offense. You know, you look at the first game, it was a bunch of check downs, a lot of easy stuff, you know, but when he was asked to do more, when he was asked to actually read the defense go deep, we saw the inaccuracy deep. Well, we go into this game. What changed? Well, the Lions said, hey, we're going to stack this box and you got to throw the football. And he can't do that. You know, you look at the situation here, they're stacking the box. You know, he doesn't make adjustments. If you look at, there was a couple plays that he actually had, one on in the first quarter. That third down that you're talking about, when he actually got blasted, it was because he didn't check the running back and keep him in pass protection. That guy was coming regardless or not. He never saw that guy. That's why he got rocked the way he did. And you go to 2nd and 5, you know, he overthrows Robbie Anderson. And Robbie Anderson's wide open on that play going deep down the right sidelines. Overthrows and puts horrible touch on the football. That's ridiculous. You can't do that. Then he comes right back on 3rd and 5, same quarter. The next play comes right back, predetermines that he's going to throw a slant route to the left side, and just digs right into it. Throws straight into coverage. without even looking, almost threw an interception. You can't do these things. You can't do these things. And this is the Christian Hackenberg that I saw. And I think that, again, our offensive line didn't play well. Stevie Wonder could see that. But there were times where he did not have pressure on him, where we saw the same thing that we saw in college, that when he gets, nicked up a little bit, when he gets hit or touched a little bit, he starts seeing ghosts. And all of a sudden he starts seeing pass rushers that are not there. And he starts getting happy feet, and he can't set his feet to throw. His mechanics are off. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's rushing throws, or he's throwing throws that are too late, or he's inaccurate. Like, you cannot do these things. You can't be all over the place if you want to be a starting quarterback in New York Jets. And that's what I saw out of Hackenberg.
No, and I'll say this, and I'm just gonna be, listen, we're honest here. We're not here. We have no agendas. We have no narratives. We don't hear. But Todd Bowles did him no favors with the offensive line by shuffling the guys in and out. And this is not making an excuse for Hackenberg, but I'm saying the offensive line's a mess to begin with. What he should have did was take the 5 guys that had the most chemistry and at least give the kid a chance to have solid, legit protection in front of him. That's the first thing. Second thing is play calling. Run, third and long, not ideal. Why not let the kid start out with a quick pass, get him comfortable with his first start, with all these things. They could have did some things to help him, just ease him into the game. But then, here we go. This is your chance, man. This is what we all wanted to see. We said, listen, we want to see him start with the first team, and we want to see him open the playbook. Check. Guess what he did? He failed. And this is, listen, it's his second year here. Last year was his redshirt year. If you want to win a quarterback competition, you need to show command of the offense. You need to show the ability to move the offense. You need to show what the hell you're doing. And, Joe, he's staring at receivers. The same thing we criticized Bryce Petty about last year in this game. Staring at receivers, you could tell he couldn't understand the defense, and this is vanilla. This is nothing that you would face week 1 against Buffalo.
Exactly.
Week 1 against Buffalo, you're going to face a team that's going to blitz you like crazy. They're going to stack the line, and they're going to dare you to beat them with your arm. He can't do that. He will get overwhelmed. He will get beat to hell, and his psyche and confidence go right out the window. Listen, we wanted to see him play, and we have all these practice reports, mine, Kevin's, everybody else, how good he looked in practice. The problem is in practice, you don't get hit in practice. They touch you on the shoulder, they blow the play dead, they run past you, all these things. So he faces the pressure. He doesn't get hit. Well, that changes now. And his first chance of getting hit, he failed. He choked. So I left that game. My personal impression was, we'll stay with quarterbacks for now. Hackenberg is not ready. I don't care. You can sell me whatever. He could have the best week of practice his entire life. That impression for me, Joe, was this kid's not ready. We'll start with that. Then, furthermore, this offensive line, Joe, is a disaster. And we talked about this for 2 weeks now, and everybody's, well, they're changing a lot of players, doing all this. Listen, man, if it looks like a skunk and it smells like a skunk, Joe, tell me what you have.
A skunk. An absolute
There
skunk.
it is. You have 3 pieces that you're trying to replace here. And the one thing was, we thought Wesley Johnson was a constant at center. That may not be the case. Kelvin Beachum has been, I don't know how you want to describe it, okay right now. The right tackle spot's a mess. Dude, this is a huge concern. And if you look at this, as we go forward, we say it's only the preseason. If this is a problem as the season starts, this is 1,000% on Mike McCagnon. And, Joe, we first guessed this during the draft and during the entire offseason.
Yeah, it's crazy. I want to go back to what you said earlier. You said, that Hackenberg, Todd Bowles was doing him no favors by switching guys in and out on protection. Listen, the guys that were getting beat are veterans, guys that are going to start. Brian Winters was getting manhandled out there. In the first quarter, he got beat by Spence on the inside. I don't think I've seen someone get done like that in quite some time. He got beat by Spence on the inside. I mean, Spence just literally used his hands and shedded him off and went straight into Hackenberg for an easy sack. It was crazy. So these are veteran pieces of our line. The most, at least in our minds, was the most stable pieces of our line. Because we said, hey, Beachum just got here. We're still trying to figure out what Wesley Johnson is. Shell, we're trying to figure out what he's going to be. Or Ajalana, who knows who's going to start at right tackle. But Carpenter and Winters, those are the 2 veteran guys that are going to hold this line. Winters didn't have the greatest game at all. He was getting beat. He was one of the reasons why there was pressure in guys' faces. You look at this, going back to Hackenberg for a second, look, he's not ready. I think it was unrealistic to think that he was going to be ready this year. And this is something that I've said time and time again throughout the entire offseason. This is a kid that is coming from a situation where there was 4 quarterbacks on the roster. He was redshirted that year. We all talked about it. He didn't get much experience there. Thanks to Mike McCagnon in that situation that he put him in. Now he's coming in. This is going to be the first year that he's going to get his live fire. You know, the first year he's getting action against other teams, like you said, that aren't in practice, that can actually hit you. And he's learning a new offensive scheme. With all the other issues surrounding him, even from the draft that they talked about, his mechanics, I've talked about it just now on this show, from him seeing ghosts, understanding the pass rush, being able to read an NFL defense. He struggled with that in college. If you go back and read the scouting reports, they said it would take 2 to 3 years for him to be half ready to be decently competent as a third or second string quarterback. So it's going to take time with this kid. And I think that there was a lot of unrealistic expectations, and I think those expectations were brought about because he was picked in the second round. I think that that's where all of this comes from, where fans think that he's some type of savior. Slow down a second. All the things that was talked about from his reports, you're seeing right now. But let's go to this offensive line really quickly. Oh, my goodness. We've been talking about it for 2 weeks. I've been talking about it for 2 years. This is something that I've talked about time and time again here, and this was my fear going into this year. From when we gave Fitz $12 million and we didn't necessarily address our left tackle position correctly, to coming into this year and wondering about, hey, we let Nick Mango go, but do we have the right guy behind him? What about our right tackle position after we get rid of Giacomini? Is Brandon Shell really the guy? These are things that I've talked about time and time again. What about, hey, let's draft a right tackle? What are we doing with our offensive line? These are things that I've talked about time and time again here. And now, hey, look, the fruits are coming to bear. You got guys that can't block anyone. Can't block anybody. Ajelana has looked awful. Quavo has looked terrible as well. He's had an awful preseason. This guy has gotten penalties in back-to-back games for false starts. I don't know what he's doing out there. And if they're not doing that, then they're holding and blowing other plays for us. You know, bringing plays back because they're grabbing guys to get them down. They can't stop anybody. If this line does not gel, we're going to continue to have these problems going into the season, and this lies directly on the lap of Mike McCagnon because he's constantly rolled the dice with this offensive line, constantly, from not properly taking care of our left tackle position when he could have, to not properly investing with the offensive line from the draft to free agency as well as he should have. Though rolling the dice like that, you can't do that when you're talking about starting young quarterbacks or quarterbacks like McCown that aren't necessarily mobile and have injury histories. You get guys hit and blasted, your offense is done, and we're starting to see that right now.
Dude, this is, like I said, we've talked about this since the offseason. The draft, we talked about it. We've been first guessing this, and here's my problem, and I agree with you. Listen, I ripped them for the Ryan Clady move because it was, a risk-reward kind of move. The Kelvin Beachum thing, risk-reward, these are all things. These are all Band-Aids. And the thing is, you want to build this whole rebuild. We want to rebuild our team. We want to rebuild, blah, 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 blah. Your rebuild starts with your offensive line. The offensive line is the foundation of your goddamn team, period. That's it. It needs to be a strength. When Mark Sanchez is winning games, when they made those runs, guess what it was? It was the offensive line that dictated the pace of the game. We just mauled people. We grinded people out. We wore them down. So now you have an offensive line that's shaky. You're trying to implement a new offense. The best way to destroy that and your quarterback is shaky coverage. They can't pass block. They can't run block. And they're like, well, the Jets can't run the ball. No kidding. Guess what? They're not going to be able to because they're going to be overwhelmed by pressure. So now it falls on the quarterbacks. So then you have the quarterback show, and guess what? Now we got to find receivers that can actually get open. Because if you say Robbie Anderson is your guy, okay, I'll give you that. You double him. Just say you even double him just because of his speed. Okay, we'll play that. Austin Seferian-Jenkins is out 2 weeks. He's suspended. Tell me where exactly you're throwing this ball to because nobody, Jalen Marshall, who showed some promise out 4 games, nobody is showing any kind of promise. Chris Harper did a little bit in practice, but let's see that happen in an NFL game when the lights are on. Are Darius Stewart and Chad Hansen, they're not doing anything in the preseason. What do they do? Catch a couple passes, one good stiff arm, makes a highlight? Good for you, Stewart. Dude, the problem you're going to have is it's like it trickles down everywhere. You have an offensive line that's shaky. You have receivers, we could probably use Eric Decker right now, that can't get separation or haven't proved it yet. Dude, this offense could be potentially a nightmare. And now you're going to say your first game is going to be on the road in Buffalo in front of a raucous crowd? Dude, Come
Boy.
on, man. Like, this recipe is a disaster.
Wouldn't it be awesome to have Eric Decker right now? Wouldn't it be great to have another wide receiver that
I wouldn't mind Nick
we
Mangold
can count
right
on?
now.
I mean, wouldn't it be great to have a wide receiver that, it's a smooth route runner that has solid hands, that could be that relief valve for your quarterback when times are tough, like we're talking about right now, with all the pressure in his face, a guy that knows how to get to the stick and continue to move the chains, a guy that you can count on in the red zone to be a threat. That's what we let go. That's the impact. What a dumb move that was. And now look at us. Like you said, you look at Robbie Anderson. This is a guy that, yeah, he can beat you deep and all those things, but outside of him, they lock him down. Who are we going to next? No one has really came off. I mean, Miles White is a guy that's, he's been up and down at best. This is a guy that he drops passes. 1 second, he's all right. You haven't seen enough to say, hey, I can count on that guy. Outside of him, who else? Everybody else, ASJ is going to be suspended for a while, like you said. Jalen Marshall, who's about as inconsistent could get, he's suspended as well. Where's the next guy standing up? And that's where I'm stepping up, and that's where I'm hoping that a guy like Kimbrel Tompkins can step up. Stewart, I think, has made some solid plays out there. Look, I know you
Kimbrel Tompkins, man. Can you imagine? We got to rely on a guy like Kimbrel Tompkins. We had Eric Decker on the roster. What a jackass! This is just. You know what the sad thing is? You know what the problem is now? You have two portions of fan bases, and I'm talking to the portions on my timeline. It's always trying to rip me a new ass. Here's the portion that you have. You have the portion that hates everything and wants to lose everything, and then there's the other portion that justifies everything. Everything is a great move. Oh, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. Sharon Peake is number 3 receiver. Sharon Peake got 3 reps. 3 reps. 3 stops in a preseason game. So that really shows you they think of him. The receivers every day in practice are dropping passes like it's a habit. It's like a second nature.
Yeah.
So, dude, there's nothing like. At some point, you got to just say, listen, man, this is not what we asked for here. Everybody wants to tank and lose. That's fine, but you need to rebuild with a plan, a process, and a direction. And right now, it's kind of ugly, Joe, because this could be a historically one of the worst offenses in the history of the Jets organization.
It definitely could, and one of the main things that's going to lead to that is our offensive line, because like we said, the pressure is going to get in the face. But if we're talking about receiving options here, you're going to have guys like Miles White step up. Jordan Leggett, who I thought has looked okay, he's dropped some balls as well. He dropped a TD in the red zone from Petty, but he's looked like, a guy that's came on. He had 2 catches for 40 yards in the last game. So we're going to have to start seeing those things. I think you're going to see a lot of backs coming out the backfield too. Bilal Powell is going to get more than his share of those throws, coming out in the flats. Guys are just going to have to step up. But do I believe that we're going to have, we're going to face defenses that don't already know what's up? No, we're going to face defenses just like what the Lions did, where they're going to stack the box and they're going to bring pressure 24 hours a day until somebody beats them deep or we figure it out. That's going to be the blueprint for the entire season. We're going to blitz you all night long, and we're going to beat your quarterback to death, and then we're not going to stop until we figure it out or we're up by 60. That's literally what they're going to do. And right now, like you said, if you look at the situation, you look at these teams we're playing, I don't think we'll have an answer to stop that.
Dude, but the funny thing is, though, here's the funny thing. Everybody used to rip Geno for all these different things. They used to rip Mark Sanchez. Oh, they had no weapons. They had no time. They had no this. Okay, let me explain to you what's going on right here. Let's just look at this situation in terms of a young quarterback. You have a brand new offense, so they got to learn the offense, right? They got to learn the speed of the game because Hackenberg's never seen the speed of the game, and Petty's still a work in progress. They have to do that behind an offensive line that's struggling with receivers that are also struggling. You cannot ask for a worse situation to develop your offense and develop your quarterback. It's a disaster, period. And this isn't overreaction because, listen, and you think we're overreacting? Wait till you see this Saturday night against this Giant defense. Good luck. And this is going to be a vanilla defense, and they're still going to whoop our ass. So, dude, you cannot ask for a worse. And this isn't even this isn't a shot at John Morton because John Morton, I like the way he coaches. I like his plan. But listen, if your line can't establish the line of scrimmage and they can't set the tone, it doesn't matter what kind of plays you call, Joe. It doesn't really matter. And furthermore, I don't even understand why Romar Morris isn't getting any plays out of the backfield. He's the fastest guy on the offense. But that's just, I mean, it's just whatever. But and the other thing, we'll go quickly to the defense, and then we're going to go to today's practice. We got a bunch of people on hold, so we'll go to that. Joe, this is the part of the fan base that I absolutely can't stand. And Jamal Adams is a very good player. He's a very good player. Listen, he's a rookie, but he has all the potential in terms of leadership, ability, intelligence. The kid could play. So could Marcus May. He misses 2 tackles, and then I go on to our good old social media account because, it's at Talk Jets Radio for those that are following us. And Jamal Adams sucks. Jamal Adams is overrated. Dude, there's a portion of this fan base that's just true morons. Like, there's almost like they should have their social media accounts just deleted. Like, really? Like, of all the things to complain about on this team, you're going to rip Jamal Adams? Like, this is the point we've gotten to? Listen, if you want to question Lorenzo Malden because he's been hurt, or if you want to question Marcus Williams or Buster Screen, some of these other guys, I get it. But, Joe, to even think about ripping Jamal Adams in his second preseason game is an amateur hour move by Jeff Ames.
Yeah, look, I'm not calling people morons. I love you all. I understand.
I'll call them
morons.
They're idiots.
Okay, that's your prerogative. They'll be tweeting you. But I understand, people tweeting the heat of the moment. But the way I look at the situation, this is something I talked about when they first got drafted, because May got beat on some plays as well. They're 2 rookie safeties. They're still, getting allocated to the game. They're still learning the game. Did he miss 2 tackles? Yeah. I saw there were some missed tackles out there. I think May missed a tackle as well out there as well. But they're still learning the game. You look at what Adams has done out there. This is nothing. This is a second preseason game. They're still going to keep it moving. I don't have any doubt in my mind that once we get into the season, he's going to be solid. Do I think that they're going to be world beaters, Pro Bowl safeties their first year? No. They're going to have their ups and their downs, but in no stretch of the imagination do I think that people should be calling these guys bust or saying that they're trash or saying that they're overrated. These are 2 young safeties going out there and putting it out there putting out there to play on the line. So 2 tackles being missed, maybe like I said, May getting beaten coverage just a little bit. That's nothing to be fret about right now. Let's get into the season with these guys. Let's see how they produce, because I believe they will.
Yeah, and there's 3 guys. We're not going to spend too much time on the defense. I think they're going to be solid. They're just going to get tired because they're going to be on the field all the time. There's 3 guys that really stuck out to me. Josh Martin, who at this point should have Lorenzo Malden's job. Demario Davis is night and day from what he was the first time he was here. Demario Davis is faster, more physical, and no doubt a leader. And a guy that we talked about last week, which I know he still has to earn some stripes with you, Dexter McDougal. Those 3 guys for me, Joe. Davis, Martin, and Dexter McDougal, all in a game that was kind of rough, all I thought played pretty well, along with Darren Lee.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. And this is like you said, McDougal's a guy I gotta wait. But he is playing well. I will give credit where credit is due. But until this guy gets into the season and at least gets a couple games to the season and still healthy, I am not going to get high on Dexter McDougal. But I tell you what, Martin is playing like a starting outside linebacker. I mean, you can't deny this. This dude is everywhere, and he's bringing the rush. He's ferocious in the pass rush. He gets after it. He called the fumble in this game. I mean, it's hard. I mean, he's coming from Malden's job, absolutely. And Lemonier, I thought, had some great plays out there as well. 3 guys that stood out to me. Look, Jordan Jenkins is balling out here, man. And I don't think anyone's talking about it. This is a guy that we said, hey, he's coming on. He's just learning his pass rush moves this year. This dude is bull rushing. He's taking every tackle into the quarterback. That's what he's doing. And not just that. I know I'm a little worried about this, but he's also playing special teams too. And he's blasting people on special teams. He is laying hits. Okay, so, I mean, Jordan Jenkins is a beast out there. Sheldon Richardson, it's crazy. When you put this guy at defensive end, he actually plays extremely well. I don't know if – I know the Jets coaching staff listens. Look, if you just leave this guy at the end, he's going to do the job. And this guy has been a beast, man. He played very well out there against the Lions. I'm hoping that we keep him at that position because this guy, I think he's in for a solid year. And the other guy – Ronald Martin, man, I was watching this dude fly around yesterday making hits in the backfield. Not just him, Shamarko Thomas was in the backfield as well. Rontez Miles had some hits in the back. They are laying the wood on running backs when you're trying to hand the football off. So Ronald Martin definitely stepping up because we lost Doug Middleton. That's going to be big for us, man. And I want to see this guy continue to, put the effort forward. And I hope he makes the roster this year because this is a guy I think can definitely make an impact back there at safety.
Yeah, no, I agree. And those are all good calls. And the one thing, Josh Martin, there's no doubt about that. And I think Malden's already been ruled out for Saturday's game against the Giants due to his back. And this is for a preseason that was so important, it's a lost preseason. He's been hurt the entire time. And before that, he was just starting to come on. He has to, I think this is kind of a show me year for him. And, your best ability is availability. And right now he's not available. And, when roster cut time comes, I never thought I'd say this year, but that could very well happen. So, that's going to be an interesting call for Mike McCagnon if he can't play this weekend because now it's all right, you missed the last two games. What do you do with him? I mean, Joe, I don't even know what you do with him because Freddie Bishop, another guy that's coming on. Freddie Bishop played well.
Yeah.
So if you have Martin, you have Freddie Bishop, you have all these guys, Jordan Jenkins, you have all these guys coming on, and then you got Dylan Donahue. So how many do you have?
Yeah.
I mean, if you have Dylan Donahue, Freddie Bishop, Josh Martin, Jordan Jenkins, that's 4. I mean, do you keep 5? I mean, I probably don't. So who's the odd man out?
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't. Me personally, I know some people are going to look at me crazy. I understand that Martin's playing well. And like you said, I understand we got guys. But I will wait for Lorenzo to come back from that injury. This is a guy you drafted. This is a third-round pick. You got to see this guy pan out. You got to see what he's going to give you, especially due to the fact that he's injured right now. So it's not like the guy, isn't performing or he's performing below. I mean, the guy's hurt, so he can't do anything right now. So we've got to wait to see what he come back for. I would not jump the gun and cut this guy, even though, like I said, Martin is playing well. I'd have no problem at all starting Martin at outside linebacker whatsoever. I'd have Jenkins at one side and Martin at the other. No problems whatsoever behind that. But you got to give Malden a chance to come back and see what he can give us. Because guess what? Yeah, we got 4 guys, but you're going into the season, dude. There's so many teams where they just bring waves of pass rushers. If Malden comes back from that back injury and he's healthy and he finally can give you something and start showing you flashes and turns around and becomes that pass rusher that we all need, hey, then more pass rushers the merrier. So that's what I'm about. I wouldn't let him go.